It's the Saturday Slanted Cinema with Tom of Midnight's Edge, Yeti Cast, Wes Moody, and more.
Para bailar la bamba, para bailar la bamba, para bailar la bamba, que necesita una boca de gracia. Por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré. Baila bamba, baila bamba, baila bamba, baila bamba. Yo no soy marinero, yo no soy marinero, yo no soy marinero, soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán. Baila bamba, baila bamba, baila bamba, baila bamba. Soy capitalista, soy capitalista, cualquier fascista, yo no soy fascista, soy anarquista. Baila bamba, baila bamba, baila bamba, baila.
Hey, well, welcome. Good afternoon. My name is Polly. This is the Latino Slant. How you doing on this Saturday afternoon, or early evening, or morning, or wherever that may be for you? We really appreciate you guys being here. We push things back for the anticipation and grief and angst and anger that these two movies have created. You thought the Gina Carano thing was bad. Shoot. But we are happy that you guys are here. Please take the link right now. We did do some tweets, retweet, let people know that we're here. We're going to have fun. And we're so happy that you guys are here. Right away, let's say hello to our friends, Clobbering Times, Sander, Darth Haster, Purple Valkyrie, Hola Purple, Jedi 6. We're happy you guys are the early comers here. And yes, Theme Park Casual, Garbage Pail Kids equals Nightmare Fuel. That is a really, really great way to put it. Great way to put it. Okay, but let's bring on my regular co-host, and then we're gonna bring on our special guest, Yeti. What's up, brother?
Hey, I am scarred for life after these. Oh man, this was a tough one. Those Garbage Pail Kids. This is gonna be a good show.
Yeah. I mean, I really want to save it because I want to get into the mind of Tom.
Yeah. It makes me question a lot of things.
Right, and you know what's funny was that because we had that extra hour, I actually was able to watch more of Garbage Pail Kids, so now I'm more upset.
Hey, girls are crazy. Oh,
we're gonna get into it. I'm so happy people are here, showing up. This is a lot of fun. And I love doing this every Saturday with Yeti. This is a first, though, because Tom picked both movies for us.
Yes, yeah.
Hey, it's great. And our first
they fit.
Our first timer here on this show, but not the first time on this channel, the great Wes Moody.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Well, you tell me, man. Are you ready to...
Well, I still have some... Yeah, I've got some thoughts on Garbage Pail Kids. And, Howard the Duck. I remember enjoying Howard the Duck when it came out because I was a kid. Yeah. But now the whole, duck bestiality thing just seems a little bit gross.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's... Wow, you threw me...
Oh, sorry. I went right into it, didn't I? We'll save it.
And we're happy you're here, brother. Yeti, there is a new Latino in town, and Mexican Iron Man is right. His name is Tomas of Midnight's Edge.
Órale, vato, what's happening?
Hey, Mexican American.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm so glad I was able to torture all of you.
Oh, I bet you are.
It's fun. It's fun. I'm speechless, bro. I'm speechless. And I'm talking to you, Tom.
Well, I mean, what
In a
can I
good way.
say? First of all, I love rubber monster movies. Like it's no joke.
Yeah.
I've made that clear many times. If there's a rubber monster in it, chances are I'm going to like it, no matter how bad it is. For some reason, I've always been a fan of Gremlins, Critters, Creatures, you name it. These two films happened to come out near the same time when I was, young boy, 6 and 7 at the time. So like, or 5 or 6, 7, whatever it was. And like you guys, like Wes, like just said, Howard the Duck growing up wasn't such a big deal. I didn't understand why people didn't like it till I was an adult. Garbage Pail Kids, again, when I was a kid, whatever, I didn't really care. But then I saw it like as an adult, and I'm like, wow. And you just kind of realize, like, how did I miss all this stuff? And, as a young kid, you don't really pay attention. So I, and maybe Wes and I, at least, I'm not sure, I can't remember how old YetiCast is, but the two of us may be able to look at these two films a little bit differently than you guys did, seeing them for the first time, or if you were adults when they first came out, it's a little different, I'm assuming. But yeah, I mean, as kids' movies, and that's the other problem. There's a lot of similarities between the films, and I thought that was great that was brought up, because yeah, I figured you guys would pick up on that. one of the things mainly being how ridiculous some of the stuff is in the films, and you just sit there and ask yourself, how did these get made, and are they really kids movies for reals? Like, yeah, both of these are intended to be children's films, and as we get into the conversation, you'll be like, yep, there's no effing way. These people are thinking.
So I was 16, 17 when these came out, so I had no interest at all.
Exactly, yeah. So if you're like already on the cusp of adulthood or an adult, I can see just having no nostalgic value for these movies whatsoever.
I mean, I was Purple Rain and I was La Bamba at that time. Like, that was, I was already wanting to be that adult. But I remember liking Leah Thompson. But
that's the one thing everybody says about it. At least she was, Leah Thompson at the time. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
right.
She was good in it.
Yeah, but any initial thoughts before I ask some questions and maybe play a little bit of the trailer?
I just I actually saw the Garbage Pail Kids movie in the theater when I was a kid. I believe my mom dropped me and a friend off at the theater. And
was he your friend afterwards?
I don't think so. I just remember losing all interest in collecting Garbage Pail Kid cards after that.
Yeah, from what I remember, let's start with Howard the Duck, Tom. It was a comic, right?
Yeah, famously it started as a Marvel comic, and George Lucas got the rights to it, I believe, before he even made Star Wars. But it was an idea or at least he had started talking about it before then, but eventually got the rights to it, had the writing duo Gloria Kurtz or Gloria Katz or something like that. What the hell is her name? Anyway, they worked on a few of their other movies, like with George, like American Graffiti and stuff like that. And it was one of those movies, when it came out, it was meant to be this big, huge blockbuster, because George Lucas, if you guys don't remember in the chat, was like the James Cameron of that time. Like, everything he did or touched or had his name attached to was kind of like Spielberg, that was just guaranteed box office business. And it wasn't the case with Howard. And Howard was kind of the beginning of the cracks, or at least where people started to actually bring it up. Because, we could go back to Return of the Jedi and we could look at it now and say, yeah, there was things you can see leading into the prequels. But it's still a great film, as opposed to Howard the Duck, which was just a complete 180,
Well, Lucas was just coming out of Temple of Doom, so you're right. He was invincible. He was still invincible.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Plus add in the Indiana Jones. Well, at that time it was just the 2 films, but yeah.
So you had the Star Wars 3 trilogy. You had the 2 Indiana Jones. Was he part of Willow?
Willow wasn't yet. That was a couple of years down the line.
Okay, so this is really his first flop. Yeah,
and Willow actually did pretty well. But this film, did not do well at all.
Gotcha. Yeah. I do remember that it was considered like the year's biggest flop. Like, it was a big letdown. And I just remember just being very not funny in the theater. And now I wasn't let down. It's still not funny.
Let's put it this way: Friday the 13th Part 6 beat it at the box office that weekend.
Oh
It came out.
no,
Oh,
that is bad.
Aliens was like the number one movie, if I remember right, that
Mhm.
weekend. But that like there was nothing going to touch Aliens.
Mm.
But then I think number 2 was like Friday the 13th Part 6, and then Howard the Duck.
Part 6. That's Freddy's Dead, right?
Jason Lives, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
sorry.
Freddy's dead.
Wow.
What franchise are you talking about?
I know.
man?
I went.
But it's still it's the 6th in the franchise of
Yeah.
the Friday the 13th films. You know, like it was, which to me is personally one of the better ones. But at that point, I doubt anybody had any. After the last few films, they were like, yeah, there's no way this one's going to be good. You know, like
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Fast. I was one of those guys in the theater at the Egyptian theater that weekend of Aliens, because I remember it was the Egyptian theater is such a cool theater to go to at the time. Now it's called American Cinematheque, but it's privately owned. But that Aliens, that was great in the movie theater. Wow,
Oh, that would have been a good experience.
it was rock and roll, man. It was rock and roll. Like you felt just real fast. I just want to you touch on a nice memory.
Well, wait, no, but even like, let's think about it though. Even though Howard the Duck's the worst of the films at that time, the top 3 films that you could jump from one theater to another and see, Aliens, Friday the 13th Part 6, and Howard the Duck all in one weekend. And even though Howard the Duck's a bad movie, how could we can't even say that now? I mean, not just because of the COVID thing, but like even back in the summer, like how could you say like we could go see Endgame, Venom and Joker all in the same weekend? You're never going to get something like that. It's just not going to happen now.
Yeah.
Well-
Oh, yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
want to thank
yeah.
everyone that's here in
True.
the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let people know that we're here. You guys have anything to say? I got a little bit of I got the trailer. One of the trailers.
Which one are we starting with?
Howard. Let's start with Howard. No?
That one chronologically? All right.
Yeah. What do I got? Let me see here. We got this trailer. Here we go. Let's get the sound. Here we go.
She was the best part of this movie.
Exciting individual I've ever met. He isn't into the whole macho thing, but he knows who he is.
Now wait a minute. I remember this. This is something like they try to salvage. They're trying to make it sexy, so they just had Leah do this. Correct.
Well, a big part of it also was, if you remember, Paulie, during the promotion, George was pulling a Steven Spielberg, like he did with E.T. and Gremlins, by not showing the creature. So that was the big campaign with Howard the Duck, and that was the whole thing with the egg and all that kind of stuff. He wasn't on the poster, nothing. They wouldn't show Howard, so they kept him a big secret, like E.T., and it just backfired.
Well, I mean, it was a great promotion because you're absolutely right. I did remember that, and I did remember the poster. Remember the poster being seen in the theater. I'm like, what is this?
You
Why
even
is-
have it on the thumb, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
And what he wants. Everyone thinks of him as a hero now. But I share his feelings, and he's touched my soul.
He touched more than
And
that.
right now, I would give anything to run my fingers through his feathers.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a lot more disturbing as an adult.
Oh my god.
Well, the thing is, it's supposed to be a satire. It's supposed to be humorous. Howard is a duck with an attitude, right? This movie shows that George Lucas has no sense of humor and does not get humor.
Or at least the twisted dark humor. Of
He doesn't
the
get
comic,
it. Yeah.
Right.
Because you watch the film, and I know he didn't, direct it, but he probably like backseat directed this movie. And the thing is, with all the jokes in the film and all the satire and all the humor, all the back and forth between, like, because a great example is the scene where the scientist comes out of the lab, and it just exploded because they were trying to reverse the process to send Howard back.
Mhm.
And the guy comes out and half his face is all blown off, and he's got burnt, like probably like fucking third degree burns or some shit like that on the side of his face. And he's just like, we shouldn't be messing with things that we don't understand. And he's just like wandering around and everybody's just like, oh, well, lackadaisy about it. And Howard's attitude is like, well, this doesn't bode well. It's like, well, the point is, okay, the whole point of that joke is that you have to play it up in a certain way to where this guy is got to be obviously in like a lot of pain and shit like that and freaked out and scared. And he's playing it like it's a comedy.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
almost
not,
thought that was
he's
a
supposed to
setup.
be playing. Yeah, he's supposed to be playing it serious. Howard is the joke. His reaction to that is supposed to be the joke. But since the guy's playing it so lackadaisy and comedic, Howard's reaction just comes off stupid. You know, that's a prime example of this movie. Like, the joke setups are there. The jokes are there. They were just piss poorly executed. And then you've got 3 storylines going on that don't belong here. Like, you got way too much to deal with in a 2-hour movie. And one of the storylines doesn't even kick in till halfway through. But anyway, I want to hear your guys' reaction to this fucking movie because it's a doozy.
Well, for that scene that you're just talking about, it almost seemed like they were trying to set him up just to lie because they wanted to do experiments because it's this alien creature. It's like, oh, we can't set you back. So here's this actor that comes out and plays it up. And they're like, oh, the machine's broken. But no, that's exactly what happened.
That's the logical place for this story to go, and it doesn't.
Yeah. So I was thrown off. And yeah, Wes, why don't you give us some of your thoughts?
The part where the machine brings him from the duck world, where he's flying through the walls, and it has like, you know, duck boobs and Play Duck magazine, and that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, well,
Play
yeah,
Duck.
it's all, you know. As a kid, I thought it was funny. As an adult, I think that like, I don't know. I think it, you know, again, it's a little weird. It's a little weird. The part where they were flying like the little plane, that was cool. I like that.
Yeah, there's some good bits and good scenes, and there is some stuff right out the comics in here, but it's just the way it was interpreted.
Yeah. Oh, and the part where the principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off starts like making things explode in the diner, that was cool.
He was great.
Yeah,
You know,
he was really good. Did good
seemed
acting
to
in
me,
it.
Every single scene went on just about 5 minutes too long. You could have had the condensed jokes, and it probably would have popped a lot more, but it dragged, and so the jokes just started. They didn't land in that way, and it just made it go painful.
Yeah, the editing is piss poor. The movie's like a half hour too long. That's for sure.
Well, I think what Tom said, it was like, you know, like it didn't know what it wanted to be, and it had 3 different stories, and one story started at the middle of the movie. It was all just, you know, it was all bad. You know, I mean, even Leia had nothing to do with it. Leah or Leia?
Leia.
You know, even she couldn't save it. I mean, you know, she's
the only one playing it straight. Like, she's the only one in it who's doing it like she's supposed. Well, besides Jeffrey Jones, like that last comment was right. Jeffrey Jones gets the joke.
right. Well, I was telling YetiCast that Jeffrey Jones, like that whole thing reminded me of Ghostbusters Possession, you know?
Yes.
Like it was actually kind of funny, you know, like you're right. He got the joke. He played into it. But no one else did. I don't even think.
Yeah, like they needed a production meeting about how everyone needs to play their character for it to work together. Because he gets it. No one else seems to get it.
Except for Leah. Leah kind of gets it.
Yeah, she's
that's
a
what I'm
straight
saying.
man,
Like, yeah,
right?
everybody else in the movie besides Howard and Jeffrey Jones when he transforms are everybody else is supposed to be playing it straight. That's why Ghostbusters works. It's not because you know Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and all those guys are acting like goofballs like they were in the remake. No. They're playing it straight. Bill Murray is Howard the Duck. The Venkman character in Ghostbusters is what Howard the Duck's supposed to be. And instead of making it a duck with attitude, they just gave him a bad attitude. You know, that's where I think George misinterpreted what Howard was. And a great scene to explain that is the scene where he gets in the argument with Leah Thompson right after they leave, you know, Tim Robbins in that one scene, and they get in the argument on the fountain. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not how Howard should be acting here. I mean, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to create this drama between the two of them. But that's not a Howard attitude. Howard's attitude, he'll make cracks, he'll make the wise crack. He's like I said, the Bill Murray Bill Murray Venkman type, and instead they just turn him into an asshole. like he's an asshole through most of this movie, and that's where I don't think they understood what Howard really was. You know, like he's that kind of guy where, you know, if a car blows up in front of his face and 12 people run screaming, he's like, well, that's something you don't see every day. That's his kind of, you know what I mean?
Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was smoking his cigar and being a jerk, you know?
Well, that's the thing. He's not so much a jerk as he has just got a cocky attitude. And that's where I think Lucas misinterpreted the character and made him a jerk.
Yeah. Say that again. He's not so much a jerk. He's a what?
He's not so much a jerk. He's got attitude. He's got, you know, he's like I said, he's more, I don't remember exactly how I just put it myself.
Yeah.
He's Venkman. He's not a jerk, but I think Lucas misinterpreted his attitude to be a bad attitude, is the way I put it before. And that's, yeah, you know, he's supposed to be that snarky, you know, cigar chomping, you know, kind of guy. And the sex scene, as weird as it is, actually is a Howard scene. Cause it's like, you know, he's always fast talking. He's always flirting with her. But then when the moment comes, he chickens out. Like that's Howard. You know what I mean? That part's a little bit more Howard. Like there's a few bits here and there that are Howard, but
yeah,
other than that, the movie is just weird.
It's still weird to see it on screen. It's a giant bestiality moment. You're like, oh God, this just doesn't seem right.
Which is weird because they do get together.
Yeah. Definitely doesn't seem right. It's weird seeing Leah Thompson kiss a duck like that.
He's not a duck. He's an alien.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Whatever. Alien duck.
And there's the new version from Guardians of the Galaxy there.
Right. But that is I just wanted to throw that in there. I mean, is anything going to be made of this?
I hope not.
Kevin Smith was supposed to be doing a series for Hulu, but then I guess that got nixed. So I don't know.
I just don't know if it works on screen. Like it could work in the comic. I just don't know if it's going to come out right.
You might be right on that, Yeti, especially with the relationship aspect.
Yeah.
Do ducks even have penises? I don't understand how that.
I think they got like a weird
quality. It's very strange.
But Wes, you've been kind of.
Whoa! I guess I'm the Lord of the Waterfowl. I should know that stuff, but you know, I don't.
They do have. They showed a scene where she pulled out a condom from his wallet, so it's assumed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, there were some good moments in the movie. I thought, you know, again the Jeffrey Jones, you know, a lot of his scenes were great. Like the part where he blew up all those cars on the highway, that was cool.
Yeah.
Where he's driving the truck, you know, as he gets increasingly kind of, you know, deteriorated by the Dark Overlord possession. That I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I mean. Yeah, it just wasn't a good movie.
No, it's not. Let's be real. It's not a good movie.
The ending too. What was that? Like it's so abrupt, and it goes out on this musical solo. Somehow he's, you know, shredding on the guitar, and then it's over.
Well, I think they were setting it up for a sequel. I'm sure George Lucas thought this was going to be some huge fucking movie.
Yeah.
How?
Because he's George Lucas.
Yeah,
ducks have corkscrew wieners. There you go, Wes.
That's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong.
Leave it to the chat. Thank you, Buddy
Thank
Smith.
you, chat. We do have the best chat on YouTube.
We have the best
I
chat.
mean, you could have made, again, like you could have made a decent movie out of a lot of what you have here, but it's just Howard's wrong. You have to like Yeti said, you got to almost have this situation where the scientists wouldn't want to be jumping to help him. They would want to cut his ass up.
Yeah.
Like, so you almost have to have the other storyline, which would have fixed it anyway, happen simultaneously, where you have, you know, the lab where the accident happened, the Overlord shows up at the same time as Howard the Duck.
Right.
And then the two eventually coincide. And because otherwise, like you said, any scientist who sees him is just going to want to chop his ass up.
What was the name of that? The Overlord? It was that Overlord monster was like, you know, I had a question about that. What was?
I don't know what that thing
was. The Overlord?
I thought there were dark overlords of the universe. That
It's
was
a
our
Dark
favorite.
Overlord of the Universe, and I don't know how much of a Marvel connection that has, but
Well, I just want to get the one that was
see, they got Dark Overlord right there in the comics, so there you go.
yeah, but the comic one is
Well, like I said, yeah, there is stuff straight out the comics. Like the first half hour, 45 minutes
Yeah.
minutes of this movie is stuff that's in the comics. Like it happened pretty much that way almost. It's like it's just the way it's presented and the way Howard is presented. It's just yeah. And then, like I
Now-
said, if you could find a way to mix those two storylines better together and made it only 90 minutes, it might have worked.
now. Who do you have any? Was Lucasfilm and all them behind the animation of this?
Yeah, ILM.
Because they did a really bad job. It almost seemed like
it-
a cheap Rancor, like it was worse than Rancor. You
Yeah,
know?
it looked
Phil
out of
Tippett
place.
actually, if I remember right, actually did the stop
Monster?
motion. Yeah, there he is right there. Yeah, in the picture.
Oh, it is stop motion.
Yeah.
So there was a couple moments where I thought
Yeah,
it
I
was
didn't like
kind of working, but so on the top there, when all those aliens are starting to come to Earth through that beam, it just looked horrible. Like they're trying to basically run inside the beam, and there's three of them that look the exact same, and it's weird. It doesn't look right. It doesn't belong there.
This Jeffrey was great.
Yeah, he really was.
Yeah, he does. He's the one who got the movie. Like he got the, especially like the scene where they go up and is he okay?
Yeah, that was awesome. That definitely reminded me of Ghostbusters. You know, like they're just like kind of like bubbling, like.
And that's clearly the humor they were going for here.
Yeah, was Ghostbusters a year or two before the first one?
2 years, yeah. So like when they made this,
Yeah.
it would have been only like a year old. Yeah, like. And again, I think with the effects, I think ILM was going for a goofiness, but that's where I don't think Lucas understood the idea of what made Ghostbusters work and what would make Howard work.
Yeah,
See, because like that poster there, the alternate poster there,
right there.
yeah. See, like they got Jeffrey in the poster, but his storyline doesn't even kick in till an hour into the movie. I shit you not, an hour into the over
Oh, that's a great poster.
And okay,
Yeah.
can we talk about his transition? Because
Is that a
they
Drew Struzan
over-explained-
poster?
Oh, look at this, guys. La nueva comedia de aventuras de George Lucas.
Yeah, Spanish poster.
That's cool. Un nuevo héroe. That's cool.
Howard, the win the whatever.
Yeah, Howard, the new hero. So he's not even Howard the Duck. It's Howard.
They just called it Howard the New Hero, huh?
They don't even show Howard on there.
No, they
that's
couldn't. They
smart.
wouldn't. Yeah, well, I think that's part of it too. Is like it was they were trying to do the ET thing, but I think they also knew what they had on their hands.
Is that Tim Robbins?
Yeah,
He was.
Yeah, I
he
think
was-
Tim Robbins is in that. Yeah.
That's him. That's him.
yeah. Tim
Like,
Robbins.
like he's. It looks like he's the lead character in this. I mean,
he kind of is almost. He's the leading man.
Yeah, he's dumb. It was just too much of a like being crazy and silly and funny.
Yeah, he's got a couple
Everybody.
bits where he's over the top, and then he's a little out of character. Like again, he's another one playing it like a goofball, and he should be
Right.
playing it straight.
Yes, yeah.
like he did in Bull Durham. Great, great comedic performance. He just played it straight and stupid.
But can we take a moment to talk about how the transition went for the guy? Because he over-explained everything that was going on inside him. Like, oh, my insides are changing. Your world will be destroyed. There was
we're
too much
talking-
Overly
exposition.
over exposition. Yeah,
Oh, we're back to
Jeffrey
Homeboy, yeah.
Jones, the Overlord.
Like, that took me out.
It's funny though.
Oh, see, he played it good, but the dialogue that he had to go off of was just overdone. Like, we needed to see that, I don't know, more fear through his powers developing than him just telling us how bad it'll be.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of problems. Executive producer Saul Leibowitz, and as we said before, you might not have been here. I was pointing out to Paulie because we watched the trailer that they hid Howard. Part of it was because they knew it looked like shit, but the other part of it was Lucas was trying to cash in on the whole ET Gremlins thing because that was the same campaign they had for ET and Gremlins was they wouldn't show the creatures. So yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
those guys played it straight. That was a big difference.
There you have it.
So yeah, Wes, you didn't say much about Howard the Duck. I want to hear some more. From
Yeah, I was trying to find the actor who played the Howard the Duck, and so yeah, it wasn't anybody that it wasn't like Warwick Davis. It was
you. It was actually Ed Gale, and I have him on my Facebook. I thought about bringing him in for the show, but since we were trashing the film, I didn't think it was a good idea.
Yeah. Wow.
yeah. I mean, again, as a kid, I couldn't understand why people hated it so much, but yeah, as an adult, all the weird, duck bestiality stuff is a little bit strange. I mean, I think that you have a good movie in Howard the Duck somewhere, but
somewhere out there.
I tried. Go ahead.
It needs a little bit. It needed a little bit of work. A little bit of it's There's their clashing tones. Absolutely, I agree with that. They should have just like picked a lane and stayed in the lane.
Yeah, I was trying to find the interview, but I couldn't before the show because I was dealing with a bunch of other stuff. But there's an interview with George Lucas where they ask him. I think it was during the special editions when those came out, because they're like, "Well, if there any other movies you wish you could go back and do anything about or fix or whatever?" He's like, "Oh, I was never too happy with Howard the Duck, of course." And they're like, "Well, what would you do with Howard the Duck if you could change it now?" "Oh, I think I'd change the voice."
Oh.
It's like, of all the things,
That was not the issue. George, no.
It's like, I wanted to find that though because it's hilarious the way he says it too, because he's dead serious. And it's like, George, that was the least of that movie's problems. Like,
Yep.
that's why I love him.
Good old George.
Well, he did Tucker, A Man and His Machine too,
Yes.
didn't he?
Yeah, he's
Great
done
flick.
a few other movies that were kind of either, I don't know,
Great flick.
guess you'd consider him moderately successful or whatever, but he didn't really bank on his name on movies like that. After the Howard the Duck outside of Willow, he didn't really like broadcast his name on a lot of the stuff that he worked on.
Okay.
He did like a lot of, I think he worked on like a few documentaries and stuff too, if I'm not mistaken, but I'd have to look again at his IMDb. It's been a while.
Yeah, kind of like the late 80s, early 90s were like,
Well, he was also nursing ILM and getting that up, and
well, they did do
with the computers and all that kind of stuff, and bought
correct.
Pixar.
I mean, Last Crusade was I loved Last Crusade.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you can't always get them right there, Lucas.
Yeah, he produced the Ewok movies. Yeah, I was gonna say he did a lot of television stuff for a while. Then he was working on the Indiana Jones television too.
That's right.
After that,
Yeah, he
for
was
a while.
busy.
He was busy. Yeah, he was always busy doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Wow, that was a great series. I remember liking that quite a bit.
And I guess
Bob, you can
go ahead, bro.
Bob Iger for that because ABC kept trying to cancel it and he wouldn't let them.
when Iger had
When he worked at ABC,
when he had cojones.
yeah.
Well, it says something to this movie when we're talking about his other work.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those movies that kind of sticks out. I mean, it always has.
Yeah.
It was always a butt of jokes. It was, for years. I mean, it's been the butt of jokes. You could almost every sitcom probably used it at some point as a joke.
So, what's worse, this one or the one over my shoulder?
Reservoir Dogs?
Episode 1.
Well, this is clearly worse, but I think Jar Jar Binks is definitely a candidate up there with, Howard the Duck as far as like,
I would take
George,
Howard.
Yeah, George.
Character-wise?
Character-wise, I definitely would take Howard, but it's just that idea of George putting the special effect before the character.
Yeah.
How about you guys in the chat? Is Howard Stern?
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern. Jesus.
I was waiting for that. No.
Is Howard the Duck the worst George Lucas movie? Is Howard the Duck the worst George Lucas movie? Sound off, chat.
And also, who would win in a fight, Fart Man or Howard the Duck?
Now that you brought up Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Fart Man or Howard the Duck? Well, I mean, I would. I think I'd go with Howard the Duck.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to say George has one worse movie than this. Even if you don't count the TV movies, like the Ewok movies and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
More American Graffiti was one of the most unnecessary mind-boggling, brain damaging,
Mm.
fucking 2 hours you'll ever spend sitting there watching a movie. It is a clusterfuck of weirdness. He didn't direct it, but he of course was behind it, and his wife edited it. And I think that's one of the reasons why she left him, because I guess that was just a nightmare to edit. Maybe that's a movie we'll put on the list someday, because American Graffiti is amazing, but it depends on your sequel rule. We haven't talked about that.
Well, more American Graffiti, and then maybe 1949, because they were kind of around the late 70s. 1941.
Well, Lucas had nothing to do with 41. That was
41.
Spielberg.
Yeah,
But that was Spielberg.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just coming off big hits, weren't they?
But there's you could watch those together because the thing that ties them together is that they're both period pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
I think they were also
and they have to do with war, because the one character's in the Vietnam War.
Right? Okay, so we got some suggestions here. Mark C says, "Nope, Radioland Murders."
I forgot about that one. Yeah, see, he did a bunch of other movies in between there that he produced and stuff. So, yeah, and hail Mark C. I hope you're doing well, man.
God bless.
Can everybody send some love towards him, because I know he's dealing with a couple things. So just send your love and thoughts, and I think because he's a great part of this community. So just send it to him.
Thanks for being here. Hopefully, we are having fun and entertaining you as well. Nicholas H, Star Wars special,
holiday special. That's a good one too.
It's so bad it's good. It has entertainment value.
George Lucas could have his own episode on here. Sorry, Wes.
Oh yeah, you could have B. Arthur belting out show tunes. I mean, who doesn't like that, right?
But the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, that Crystal Skull. I forgot about that one too. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Attack of the Clones. Not really at all. I'd almost put that just barely above the Star Wars sequel films.
A mashup here, Howard the Duck Private Parts.
I bet you George.
The corkscrew edition.
Shall we show his wiener?
Oh my god! There's a conversation about that at some point. You just know there was.
Well, one of the things that I thought was an interesting connection to the two films we're talking about today, besides Little People in Costumes, was the fact that these movies were made for kids or families, and they have extremely adult-oriented material in them, including Howard. Obviously, we talked heavily about the bestiality implications. Again, I want to ask you guys, do you really think, I know nowadays this wouldn't fly with, families for kids, Howard the Duck, but what do you think parents' thoughts were back then? Let's start with Paulie, since you probably were a little older. What do you remember from that time, people's reactions to the idea that this was from the guy who made fucking Star Wars and Indiana Jones?
I'm probably the wrong person to ask, because my mom was pretty liberal with me. She would lend me the car. At that time I was doing my first dating and stuff. So I remember taking my girlfriend at the time and going to see Coming to America, which was '88, but we saw it at the movie theater. Mom, so yeah, my mom was never conservative when it came to those types of movies, and my dad was worse. My dad is the one who showed me, who took me to the movie theater to see Road Warrior. Yeah. So my parents were pretty liberal. I mean, we're LA, typical LA.
All right. Well, would you show this to kids nowadays? Do you think? Do you think kids could handle a movie like this? Or what age group do you think it would be more for?
I think they could. There's nothing really over the top.
No, but I still am surprised it didn't even get a PG-13, because PG-13 did exist. I can't believe this isn't PG-13 even for the time.
What is it, PG?
It's only PG.
Really? Oh,
wow.
It was pretty suggestive,
It was suggestive,
extremely suggestive, if I must say.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing, the Cleveland jokes. Since now that we've had the whole, Ohio versus Michigan John Talks thing, and some of our friends are from Ohio and Cleveland, and that, which city is better or which one's worse. The Cleveland jokes kind of resonate with me a little bit more now that I know more about it. Those went over my head as a kid.
Well, and I think the whole reason Cleveland was picked, and I'm just guessing here, because I'm pretty sure it's in the original comic as well that's where he lands, just because it was just in kind of like the middle of America kind of thing, and at the same time it was also the capital of rock and roll, and so he met a band and all that kind of stuff. So like, I think that was the whole tie to it. But
yeah, you're right. And it was when was that Michael J. Fox Joan Jett movie? The
around
Light
the
of
same
Day.
time.
Oh wow, that's
Well,
an
even when
obscure
Howard the
movie.
Duck, even when Howard the Duck came out as a comic, because I said I believe it also takes place in Cleveland in the comic as well.
Uh-huh.
But I think the whole thing that was like the beginning of the whole rock and roll scene for Cleveland, and like that's why it's considered the rock and roll capital of America now, because you had this before Seattle took over with the grunge scene. That was where all the big rock stars went to become big, I guess. I don't fucking know. It was like the Nashville
man.
It was like the Nashville of rock for some reason. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how rock and roll ever, as far as Cleveland.
I don't know why. It's middle America. Maybe that's why.
No, but it's rock and roll's from Louisiana.
I know, but for
that's
some
like-
reason it's just
that's so
associated
weird.
with Cleveland because, and then that's why they ended up putting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame there. Isn't it that where it's at?
Yeah, that's where it's
Yeah,
at.
so I was going to say, like, I don't understand if somebody knows the reason why, and that's one of those musical trivia things that I never could understand why Cleveland, for some reason, was the home of rock and roll.
Yeah, we'd
Makes
love to
no
know.
sense.
We'd love to know. We'd love to know. Unless Chuck Berry's from there, or Little Richard, or
Okay, Leibowitz says Cleveland was where Murray
wait, where's it at?
Kay
Here we
was
go.
from, and he started the phrase rock and roll. Okay, that's why. That makes sense.
No, but listen, rock and roll was an African American term.
True, but it's where it became famous. That's why.
For decades. Rocking and rolling, because well, listen, that's a different stream.
Yeah, that's a different stream. But
That's a different stream. All right, so
that explains why. Yes,
and Alan Freed was based out of that. Okay,
yeah, that explains why the big
That's-
radio push.
and
That.
that's-
I should have known that. Actually, now that you mention that shit, I think I remember that.
and then we just did La Bamba too. So like, shame on us.
Yeah, I know. I should have known better.
We should have known better. Do not desub us, please. Unsub us.
I've been working all day, so forgive me.
I know. We pushed it back for you, man. Did you get it
I'm
done?
still working. No, I'm actually still working on it in the background, believe it or not.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, I mean, we couldn't have done this one without you because you picked these. So I'm happy that you came on, bro. You could have easily said, "Hey, I can't do it." So yeah, a lot of people. Great chat, guys. Thank you for being here. More Cleveland stuff. Alan Freed.
Okay, yeah, I remember that now. I was just drawing a blank. I should have remembered. But yeah, like, okay, so should we move on to the next film now?
Yeah, because I don't want to get into I want to, right? I'm like looking at the chat. Yeah, rock and roll, Mississippi Delta.
Yeah, well, that's a different stream, and we'll get into that. At some
Okay,
point.
let's go now to the next trailer. Wow. And this is really where we test our friendship, Tom.
Oh,
And here we go.
Well, this is a candidate for the worst movie of all time.
oh, like
Okay,
it's got
all right,
6
let's
different
start-
plot lines.
Let's start here, Yeti. Let's start. One of you guys break down the storyline. Tom.
Oh,
or
for
Yeti.
fuck's sake!
Yeah,
Just tell us
Tom,
what the-
take it away.
No, you
Take it
gotta-
away,
hey,
Tom.
Okay, first of all, I gotta preface this by this movie is the epitome, if that's the word I'm looking for, or the textbook definition of cash in or cash grab.
Mhm.
The movie was literally set up to where you couldn't lose money, no matter how bad the movie was, but yet it still managed to do that. MGM and Atlantic got together, and at the time, the Garbage Pail Kids cards were pretty popular.
Mhm.
And of course, for those who don't know, they were a parody on the Cabbage Patch Kids at the time,
Mhm.
put out by Topps. And so like originally the intention was to make it a horror film. Like it was supposed to be in the vein of Gremlins. Okay. And
that
then
would have worked better.
I don't know what happened somewhere at some point. Because you got to remember, guys, this was at the point where they were starting to kick off this whole gross out thing for boys' toys and stuff. Like this was just ushering in the Ninja Turtles. Like the Ninja Turtles was like the top of that gross out thing. And this was kind of like the beginning of it. And basically, though, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but they just decided not to make it a horror movie, and they made it a kids movie. And I don't know for sure, but it feels almost like they still had elements of that horror movie, and they crammed in a pilot for an animated series, because the plot line of this is so batshit fucking crazy, and the asks that it makes you kind of go through are just so redonkulous. Like, this movie is so fucking bad, it is the best worst movie ever. I'm willing to give it that label, because everything about this movie is wrong. Like, first of all, the plot is the Garbage Pail Kids are from outer space, evidently. And one of our main characters is a magician who has, for some reason, banished them to this garbage pail. And this kid who doesn't seem to have any parents. Dodger. He doesn't seem to have any parents at all, because we never meet them throughout the film.
No.
Accidentally lets them out. And like, you can't, like, okay, you cannot tell the straight story of this, because you can't, because there's so much going on in this fucking movie that it's just insane. And you got to question every little minute that you're watching it, because you're like, how did they even come to that conclusion?
Look, real quick.
I think we. Oh,
go ahead, Yeti. No, please go ahead.
Oh, I think that was me. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead,
anyway,
Wes.
yeah. So I think we need to give our audience some context here if we're going to talk about the cash grab, and that is, so there were these things called Cabbage Patch Kids, which were dolls. Which were dolls for for girls, and then they came out with this parody called Garbage Pail Kids, which were cards, and you could get them, and you're supposed to get like the twins. There would be twins that were the exact same one, and they would have different names, and it's like, collecting them, kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon, I guess, but different. And so, this movie, was to kind of co-market that. But beyond the Garbage Pail Kids being a parody and making fun of Cabbage Patch Kids, I didn't really think much beyond that as a kid. And then this movie, I guess it kind of fucked up the lore for me and was horrible and made me lose all interest in collecting Garbage Pail Kids after that.
Apparently, even Chucky hated this movie.
Yeah, the plot of this thing is about as straight as a circle. It winds through everything. There are 6 different storylines going on. From the kidnapping of ugly people to put them in. It was
the state home for the ugly. Yeah,
state home for the ugly.
This is where I feel like the animated series comes in, because there's no fucking way you can put that in anything but an animated series. Like, how batshit crazy is you have it's the State Institute.
They're
not just the Institute.
But let me just say that that's the only part that I laughed.
Well, so this thing, I get it. I think
like
this
too
thing was
skinny, too silly. There was like a clown.
Here's the thing: is like, I think that like at one point somebody did a draft of this where it was a straight fucking satire, right? Like, it clearly was meant to be a satire. But somebody didn't understand the fucking memo at some point, and it I think you're right. Like 6 different writers, I don't know how many writers worked on this fucking movie. Let me look here.
Wow,
it's got to be a fucking cavalcade, because there's
as you look, I just want to say I think it's awesome they've actually got one down.
2 listed. There's no way just 2 people wrote this fucking movie.
No, let me just say we've had a lot of people come on by the chat. 23 likes, 1 downvote like. That's awesome. So whoever that is, if you're still watching. I can't argue that down.
I have making him watch this fucking
probably fucking Yeti.
I have a theory that it's Daniel Kibblesmith, but
go on. I'm sorry.
I said I had a theory that it was Daniel Kibblesmith.
Kibblesmith. Kibblesmith doesn't like Latinos. What's going on? We're all Latino here on the slant, so look out, Kibblesmith.
Racist jerk.
So you have the Garbage Pail Kids, which so they set up this whole idea that these aren't the only ones. There was more.
No.
and supposedly, and this is the dark fucking shit, y'all. They went to this Institute for the Ugly where they were killed. That's basically what's insinuated.
But it's insinuated. We just hear about the scientists, like, oh, those scientists killing all these people, and nothing comes on from it. You don't see a scientist. You don't see anything. No, instead you see a fucking fashion show.
And then,
Oh,
yeah,
wait, and then
that's
the
other
kid's
plot.
14. The kid's 14, right?
He's supposed to be 14, but there ain't no way he's over 12 or something.
Yep.
Right.
Can't gone through puberty yet.
What was the other plot you were saying? Tell me.
Oh, there's like 2 more plots in this fucking
Yeah,
movie.
this is the only one.
No, actually, there's 3 more. 3 more, I think.
Okay.
Or actually, I don't know. There's like, you're right. There's literally like 6 or 7 plot
Yes,
lines in
there
this
are.
fucking movie. Okay, so you have the kids being beat up by these bullies who are clearly like 30-year-olds.
They're 30-year-olds and the worst gang ever. Like the toughest gang member is the actual chick who doesn't really say much. You know, like there's that little bit where they're trying to like undo the pipe and they're like, oh, we can't get it. And then they look at her and she comes and I mean, and then this guy, the guy with the long hair there, he keeps calling the little kid creep. I'm like, dude, you guys.
And the whole reason the main boyfriend wants to beat him up is because I think it was just because he has the hots for his girlfriend or whatever. But like every time it's brought up, it's like, but it's on principle.
Oh,
And then at the end, he's like, I don't know why I'm not beating that little twerp up. It goes against my principles. It's like, what the
right. But then is he a drug dealer? Because he was on that payphone saying he's on the payphone saying, yeah, the shipment's gonna be over the border or some shit like that.
So again, like
what?
There's like 5 movies going on. You guys are right. Like it's like you're trying to figure out what movie am I following here? Like,
and then you have the love interest, and she was like a total shit, you know. But you know,
and she goes to kiss this like little kid. She's clearly 25, 30, and like goes out on a date with him or something just to get clothes because the Garbage Pail Kids start making clothes for him for some reason.
So for context, like so the kid has the hots for this chick, right? Like we said, and that's why this guy wants to kill him, and like he literally says he wants to kill him like 3 or 4 times, not jokingly, like
right.
And he on principle, this guy wants to kill him,
right. Right.
And so like this chick who's clearly way too old for this kid,
right? There she is.
Like
want to get her.
Really sees like these clothes that this kid's wearing because the Garbage Pail Kids want to help him impress her.
Yeah,
right.
Because for some reason they got these magic clothes making powers.
I was gonna say, how the fuck they become like they could barely walk. They could barely walk, and yet they're like fashionistas there.
They did it through the power of song.
Well, not only that, these people, they have literal bodily fluids like leaking off half of them on top of everything else. So you're like, how the hell are they going to do this without disgustingly? And they even use that as part of, because like, what is it? Snotty Lottie ends up using her snot to stick on like one of the buttons or something at one point. It's like, oh my God. But I mean
they're either shitting, pissing, or mucus on the clothes everywhere. And
there's about half a dozen piss scenes in this.
Yeah, and then there's that one. He talks, it goes down to a shot of piss.
What's weird is sometimes it's obviously going down through his pants, and then other times it's like his wiener's hanging out. So it's like, which is like, whoa, wait.
I didn't catch that.
I didn't catch it either.
So like, you have this crazy ass fucking just. Okay, so then there's the next. So that like, okay, so she gets impressed by his clothes, and for some reason, we don't get much explanation for any of this, folks. That's the thing. So if you've seen this movie, you know what we're talking about. Like, there's zero exposition into any of this.
There is none. He literally means none.
Like evidently this chick is like some up and coming fashion designer, right? So between all this, not only is she a gang member with these people, she's an up and coming fashion. So she decides to use Dodger because he lies and says he made the jacket and shit.
Dodger.
And goes back to the Garbage Pail Kids and asks them to help make clothes. And at the same time, the Garbage Pail Kids are whining because they're starving and they have no money for food.
Right.
So that sets up a whole nother plot line where they leave.
But why didn't the musician, whatever the fuck his name is, why didn't he ever feed them?
Well, not only that, why didn't they just ask Dodger for some fucking food?
Right. Yeah. There's that one scene where he comes back with groceries.
Yeah, later on he does. Because then before that, they go out and they rob a bunch of people and shit and do a bunch of stupid shit. And the next thing you know, it cuts to a fucking scene where all these sons of bitches are sitting around a fire like a bunch of hobos eating chips and shit. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, I get it. They're trying to portray their kids and all this
Excuse
shit,
me.
and it's like they don't understand anything because they're
Oh.
also aliens.
God.
But it's like I'm not even sure if they were really meant to be aliens all this time, or if that was just added in after the fact to try and explain where these fuckers came from to begin with.
Yeah.
Because like there's like I said, that's the only exposition we're ever really given about this whole thing, and yet we're supposed to be sympathetic for these characters, but yet half of the plot is the magician guy wanting to get them back in the garbage can, but he also promises he's going to go help them look for the other kids, even though he pretty much knows they're probably dead.
Right.
So it's like this whole fucking convoluted thing, and again, I want to hear your guys' reaction.
Oh my god. Yeah. The whole setup there is he's supposed to try and get them back, and then at one point it's like, "I'm sorry, guys, but I never bothered looking for your friends because I didn't want to. But let's go look for them. But I'm still going to try and make this music or spells
even
to
though
get
he's
you back
probably
in."
pretty sure they're dead. Let's be real here. Like,
Yeah. And just so the audience knows, like in the chat, just so as far as what we're talking about, the age discrepancy, there's Dodger with the bow tie, and then there's this woman, right? Who's supposed to be a fashion designer there.
Yeah,
right?
She's way beyond high school, and he's, I don't know, middle school, early high school. It's creepy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And there's the gang. The worst new wave, gang ever. But
I don't know why they're going after him. Sorry, Polly, go ahead.
No, please.
No, I don't know what, because the movie starts out with the whole gang chasing him, like running the kid down to grab him and then throw him in a puddle. Like that's
correct.
But they never say why they're like running after him.
Because he's a creep.
And then they beat him up later again because he's looking through a window at the girlfriend.
Right. Yeah,
that's clearly where there's some exposition missing here with like, obviously the reason the guy wants to kick his ass is because he obviously likes his girlfriend. That's clear. But and that's the other thing is I noticed here the director is listed as one of the writers, which means it probably did have a shit ton of rewrites, and it means it was probably being rewritten while it was being made, and that's why he's listed as one of the writers as well. I'm willing to bet.
Mark C says so. The Garbage Pail Kids are sweatshop labor.
Yes, we'll get to that part.
Both a gangbang member and fashion designer. Dude, you nailed it, Mark C.
Yes,
you
that's
nailed
exactly it. Okay, so then it gets to this point where they make these clothes for this bitch, and she's just obviously using him. So then but at one point she does kind of start feeling sorry for him. And, she starts kind of, protecting him, and they have these weird little moments, and they try to do this weird little meet cute kind of thing with the two of them. Like, like even though she's using him, she's starting to fall for him or whatever.
Okay, Tom, dude. I thought that was to bring him in more so that he would continue making clothes for her. I didn't think she was actually caring.
No, but she's actually has conflict. She has a conscience.
She does by the end of the film, because that leads up to the big revelation at the end, because there is like the revelation at the end is not that bad. I will give them that. Like, if you actually take all this movie and throw your brain out, like it makes sense. Like that's why I say Jaws: The Revenge. If you take your brain out and you look at it from a writing perspective of what you have to work with, the movie makes sense, and it's the best you can do with what you got.
Well, Tyler Rude says, I can't lie. When I was a kid, that movie made me hope I was going to get an older girlfriend.
Well, and if you're a kid and you have no idea if something like the home for the fucking ugly exists and all these other things, like, clearly they should have changed that. It should have been like the alien task force coming after them because they're aliens, right?
Yeah,
right.
I found that somewhat disturbing that they had a state home for the ugly, and that they were rounding up people that were really ugly.
Like I said, it was obviously from either. It seems like it's something from either cartoon plot or some satirical version of the script that just didn't pan. Like, because that's the problem is there's like too many different versions of the script.
They needed to change the magician, because either have the magician and the Garbage Pail Kids are like demons, or make it a scientist and the kid is helping out clean a lab or something.
So there's the stay home, guys.
There's the stay home, which is clearly supposed to be a joke. I mean, look at that. That's a cartoon, for fuck's sake.
You know what? I'm gonna grab this image and bring it in. But go on.
Tonally, it's a little bit of a tonality crash there. It's like, what?
Well, I like that. Too gross. That's what the Garbage Pail Kids are under.
Which one?
too gross. See, it's clearly supposed to be like a Mel Brooks.
I mean,
kinda
that
comedy,
part,
but
yes.
But they didn't get it. Again, this is just like Howard the Duck. They didn't get what they were doing, or they didn't have a clear vision.
Are you saying they didn't respect the canon and the material?
Not so much that as if okay, they were trying to make too serious of a movie in something that was obviously a live action cartoon.
Right.
Like you
But
got
it could
way
have worked with that horror element you talked about. If they went dark horror with all of this and then had the other things going, I think that might have played out that much better.
Well, it seems like that's what it was supposed to be. Like if you look at it if you step back and look at the story, like clearly it was meant to be like this Gremlins kind of story where why else would they be kind of treating the Garbage Pail Kids kind of like Gremlins in a sense? Like, yeah, they're cute, but they're mischievous and you got to keep them under control kind of thing.
So if you look at this photo here, so the guy in the middle is too hairy.
Too hairy.
Too hairy.
Too funny, I think, is the clown.
No, he's too silly. He's
too silly. Is that what it is? Yeah.
And then the guy in here is too crippled. I mean, that's fucked up.
I know. Oh yeah, there's some weird shit. Like this movie was definitely, like I said, it was trying to do too many. Like again, like Howard the Duck. Not sure what its tone was supposed to be, and clearly too many. Maybe it's too many people trying to put their input in. I don't know.
Oh no, too pale. Holy crap. I'm already like 3 shades lighter than that guy.
There goes Canada.
Yeah. I mean, but I gotta say, of the two, I enjoyed this one more.
Maybe because the satirical elements come through a little better, perhaps, because of scenes like this, where we're clearly not meant to take this shit seriously. Like, that's the thing. I mean,
I think also, too, there were a couple of jokes from the actual Garbage Pail Kids, the banter that I was that's kind of funny.
Well, and the kids we get in this movie are, like, if I remember right, they're the first, like, however many 8 cards or whatever in the first series. They're all from the first series. I don't know if they're in the sequential order, but like I know Alligator's like A1 from the original series.
Alligator in the world's toughest bar.
Yes. Trying to bite toes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like clearly this that's the Gremlins element. Like, yeah, I think it was meant to be a bit more harder, darker, kind of dark humor, tongue in cheek. And they tried to make it a kids movie at some point, and I don't know what the fuck happened. I really don't. And whoever's idea this has got to be in some other script that just kept staying in the story. You know what I mean? Like that's where it feels like to me, because they weren't obviously even sure going through this film what they were doing.
I mean, and then Purple Valkyrie is right. It was just an absolute nightmare of a movie.
It is, but like you said, you can't stop watching it. That's the thing.
Oh, I wanted to. I wanted to so bad.
Well, I'll give you that, but Paulie said the same thing. It's almost like it is. There's just something about it that it stuck with me. Like I could have forgot about it over the years because it's not like this movie's been easy to find.
Yeah, there is no way I am forgetting
God.
this. It is sticking with me for life. My
Until Shout
dying
just
thought
released it,
is going to be about this thing.
Yeah, Shout released it a couple years back here, but outside of the one time MGM put it on DVD, it had only been on video like once.
That's
They're trying to bury it.
Pretty much. No, yeah, that they were. Like nobody had any like desire to bring this movie out. Like there was a time where the VHS went for high fucking prices on eBay.
Oh, this is a good one right there. There they are.
I like the gangster guy the best. Like, hey, chicks are crazy. Yo,
He was right.
Greg.
He was right.
He was always giving that advice about women and stuff. Like,
I mean, and then he does the Tarzan and he takes out the gang. Who's at the fashion show because he wants to kill the creep.
Oh yeah. We didn't even get to finish the plot. So like, So this all leads up to a fashion show, right? So because now she's like the talk of the town because of the Garbage Pail Kids fashions, which are god fucking ugly. Yeah, even for that time period, like there was a lot of cocaine involved in making this movie. So the Garbage Pail Kids show up to get revenge because obviously he's used her this whole time. Blah 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 blah. And they end up showing up and tearing all the clothes off the fucking models and shit.
Yeah, stripping them.
Oh yeah, one of the chicks had a was it a leopard or leopard?
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty hot.
Yeah,
Underwear or a
That was it was
swimsuit.
a swimsuit or I
in
don't know what it
between
was.
this, the kids got busted and thrown in the whole house for the ugly or whatever, but the biker gang ends up breaking them out. So like, yeah, so like leading up to this, then you get to the fashion show. So then after that, this is the one part where it actually kind of leads up and makes sense with this whole ugly kind of thing. Like, I mean, this movie does have a point, which is strange for how much of a cash grab it is, because that's where we were getting to the part where the what's her face Tangerine, she actually, you know, like you said, she was kind of conflicted, and she actually kind of does, you know, come on to him and give him his shot, and he's like, no, fuck you, you're ugly to me now.
No.
He's saying you're no longer pretty to me anymore, or
Yeah.
whatever. And I mean, it comes off fucking stupid as shit, but the message is there. Like, I get it. Like, it's like, okay, there is a clear message in this movie, and it does have a point, but it was executed so fucked up.
Okay. And in that final fight,
Oh, this is
the
good,
little
Wes.
kid finally gets to beat up the actual bully, but you hear him crying while he's doing it. And then the magician comes by and pulls him off. Like, okay, that's enough, when he's, you know, punching him in the face.
Yeah, and they clearly set up no real relationship. Like, you have no idea, because when these two first meet in the movie, it's almost like they met for the first time. It's really weird. And then it's like, then they act like they've known each other forever. So it's like, and we have no idea where this kid lives, what he has for parents.
This is the beginning of the movie right there. This is to let you know how it starts off, where they're just
Yeah, they're just beating him up for his money.
how does he even have money? What kind of gang is this?
Well, and I mean, I'm assuming you're wondering if there wasn't a whole like other plot line, because like with the kids not having food and like acting
Right.
like they're hobos. I wonder if the kid was meant to be homeless and that's why his name's Dodger.
Right, yeah, very Oliver Twist.
Like, it feels
there's-
like there's a third of this movie missing somewhere.
right. This is not the lead singer of animation from the 80s. That is the lead bad guy. Pretty hysterical, man.
No,
And
I'm
Wes-
gonna shut up. I want to hear you guys talk about this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay. Yeah. Wes, we haven't heard much from you. Let's get you.
Well, I didn't get a chance to see it recently. Unfortunately, I had trouble finding it. But so what I'm going off of is based on just from what I remember in the theater. And the thing that sticks out, again, for me, the only thing that I really, really, really remember is of course, you know, the age difference between him and his girlfriend, and the state home for the ugly. Like, I'm still kind of, you know, it's just really bizarre to me, the whole state home. I remember that being like, what? When I was in the theater, I was like, what?
And how they got away with it, huh?
Yeah, it's very, like, I don't know.
Okay, my favorite part there is when there's a bunch of kids playing hide and seek, and this little girl has this ugly mask on, and so you see these people from the state home for the ugly roll up in a vehicle with a giant net, and they walk over and grab her, and then she takes off a mask, you know, going like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't wear masks when it's not Halloween."
Basically,
like,
I
just
think I
abducting
figured it
ugly
out.
people.
I think somebody went and said, "What if? Okay, we got to make a garbage pail movie, kids movie. Okay, what if we took something like Gremlins and mixed it with, say, what was the movie I was just thinking of? Damn it! Oh fuck! I'll remember it.
So
There was a movie I
Wes-
just thought of and I just totally lost.
yeah, we just got alerted here that Katie Barbary is Mexicana from Saltillo, Mexico, and I recently saw her saw her name somewhere. All right, this may call for a Latino slant investigative report from our crack team of chachas and cholos in the barrio. We might have to go underground for this and uncover more about Katie Barbary. But Wes had something to share.
Oh God, yes.
So let's. Oh, this is pretty. Let's stop this. So just so we can get context, right, of how big these guys were, I guess.
Yeah, the prices are just absolutely astronomically high. I could not believe that when Wes brought this up. And there's some higher ones than this one. I think there's $155,000 one up there.
We didn't have Atom Bomb in the movie. Too bad.
Yeah. Maybe it was
Revenge of the
other one.
Nerds. That's the movie I was trying to think of. This is like somebody said, let's make Gremlins meets Revenge of the Nerds, because that's really the message it has in the end is like all these, because like if you look at the House for the Ugly, it's not just people that are ugly. They have like basically all a bunch of nerds in there, or people that were like Gandhi kind of person in there and some shit like that. Like,
Right, they had you're right.
Like, yeah.
Too bald. It was like a monk.
Yeah, they probably didn't include Atom Bomb because that would have been just a little too unrealistic.
Right. Wow.
Well, that's the other thing I wanted to ask you guys about, because clearly this was set up for a sequel. Like, let's be real. Like, this was very much like, even during the film itself, you can tell it's set up to like bring in more of the Garbage Pail Kids in more films, right?
That's what I thought was going to end up happening once they got to the state home for the ugly. I thought we were going to start, have a meeting.
We all did, yeah.
Yeah, and then there would be, more trouble. Things would end up happening, but no, they're like, oh yeah, they get squished into goo or something. And that never comes to fruition. It is, it was very annoying. I wanted to know what the scientist was doing, because that seemed like the most interesting part that they were leading to, but they kept skipping from plot to plot, and you couldn't follow anything that was going on.
It's a true nightmare of a movie.
Oh, yeah, look at that eBay, and it makes me wish I would have held on to my Garbage Pail Kids now.
Well, apparently, if you're and moving it on up to modern times, if anyone's got the Black Series of Cara Dune, you're sitting on some cheddar.
Yeah.
How high were the prices going for this? Like, are you able to see the one that was going for $155,000?
Oh, let's see. Where is that one at?
See, I only saw it when I clicked on Wes's link, and it was in the top bar for me.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Okay.
Let's see. Hey, maybe somebody bought it.
God. Yeah, so if you're hanging on to these, you've got gold.
I mean, the cards themselves were huge, and they were even still big after the film came out. The film, I guess, I mean, like I think Wes put it, best. Like the movie was really meant to sell more of the cards. Let's be real.
And did it?
No, probably not. I don't think it had any one way or the other effect on the cards themselves.
Anyone in the chat collect these cards? Anyone in the chat still have these cards? Anyone in the chat?
I used to.
Did you get rich from these cards?
I'm telling you, better than Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh God, I can't believe the value of even those low ones. $1,000 for the card. That's incredible, especially after this movie.
Well, there is sunshine at the end of all this, and I have Tom to thank, and for someone pointed out in the chat, but Katie Barbary is more gorgeous than ever.
There you go.
Wow.
Got the
looks great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So apparently she's been working this whole time. But yeah.
See, if they make a sequel, she'll still be the older girlfriend to some creepy
Oh,
I wonder what Mackenzie looks like now compared to her. Holy shit!
I saw a picture of him. He looks a little. What's it? Mackenzie
Aston.
Ashton.
Aston or
there
Austin?
he is.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Oh, he don't look too bad.
But he was in the Magicians, huh? Okay.
See, I just don't know why they didn't try to insert more characters. If this was supposed to be a promotional film, why not have a lot more going through in order to... No, but why wasn't there more to get money? Because if it's going to be that tool, they only had, 8 characters, something like that.
Well, yeah, but each one of those costumes probably cost like that $1 million budget. I'm willing to bet over half of it went to those costumes.
Those it did not look. It looked like paper mache.
Well, yeah, that's like $500,000, maybe $750,000 was spent maybe on the costumes.
On
8 of them, and yeah, that's a lot. I mean, look at like the Ninja Turtle costumes, I think those were even still done for pretty cheap, and done like Jim Henson did them for like, I think they even put money into. To be honest, like Brian got way behind the Ninja
Those ones
Turtle.
look good though.
Yeah, but that's the thing is they got like $1 million of worth of work probably for.
Well,
like,
apparently, Jed.
nice.
How do you say that middle one? Jedstead Toad. Still has them. Good for you, Nicholas H. Nope. Eric O'Sullivan. I loved them as a kid. I was that golden age of 11 in '84. So was I. So much money thrown away. And
Not anymore. If you got them though.
Yeah. He's like, yeah.
That's
oh
gotta
man,
hurt.
I had so much cool stuff back then that if I would have had today, I'd have be sitting on so much money right now.
Well, that's why it's worth so much, just because we did.
Name me a couple of them.
I had the Garbage Pail Kids, obviously, but I also had like the Voltron, the die-cast Voltron, the little one. I had the big Voltron that was the size of the castle. I had the castle. Oh yeah, I just had like, and a lot of the Transformers die-cast stuff I had. It's just disgusting how much. And the original, and the GI Joes from the GI Joe cartoon I had it. Well, I mean, I ended up destroying. I used to snap the rubber bands on the hips and put together in Frankenstein different ones, but I had all that stuff.
I would always try to give them haircuts, and I always would hit their scalp.
You're practicing scalping.
Yeah, we were vicious in East LA with our GI Joes. Tom has got a collection of some amazing stuff, but like, how about something from back in the day, Tom?
Well, sadly, a lot of my stuff I had as a kid, I lost in a house fire when I was 13.
Oh,
So what I have now is stuff that I've accumulated since then, or stuff that I just happened to be lucky and didn't have at the house, which is very little. And then other than that, it was just I had to rebuild it all. And a lot of my stuff came from a point. I was a mostly responsible adult after I had my kid for the most part, and then but I was living with other people all my life, and didn't have room or time for anything other than my movie collection was fairly big, but like until I got my own place, and then I got my own place, and like fuck this, I'm gonna put posters up everywhere, toys everywhere. I just went nuts. So that's where a lot of that came in.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeti.
Yes. For toys, I was big into Transformers and Ninja Turtles. I had a bunch of those, and I always kept the boxes because I couldn't throw away. They had all the backstories and stuff on there, and I really like to take care of my stuff. But it drove my mom nuts, and she, cut all of that up and threw the boxes away because it was taking up too much space.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had that too, but I wasn't as meticulously well taken care of. Like my stuff, I'd have it until it got basically so trash that it had to be thrown away. But like, oh yeah, He-Man was big first, and then it went to Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles. I never really got so much into Transformers and GI Joe. I mean, I had some, but like my GI Joes would like usually just play along with like I had Star Wars figures and stuff too, of course. Just whatever size figures would play with each other, kind of thing, size wise. But then then I moved on to like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. And then it wasn't too long after Ninja Turtles that I was kind of getting too old for toys anyway. So yeah, at that point, then I just kind of
never too old for Ninja
Well,
Turtles.
of course, but I mean that was like the last thing in my childhood. Like I didn't get into Power Rangers or Pokemon or anything that came out after that. That was kind of the last thing from my childhood era that I really got into. But yeah, so like those are my ones that I really hung on to into adulthood. Superman was always big with me too as a kid, and Spider-Man, of course, too. I think Superman was one of the first movies I remember seeing on TV. I think it was actually Superman 2, if I remember correctly. So
I did have a whole bunch of Pokemon cards, but I have no idea where they are now. I don't know if they got tossed out or if there's some box somewhere. I have no idea what happened with that.
I used to have tons of cards as a kid. I do now. I bought a bunch since, but I used to have a lot of the Garbage Pail Kids. Any movie cards that I was into, from like Roger Rabbit to, the Ninja Turtles.
Those Marvel ones?
Yeah, I had the Marvel ones too, where they have the stats on the back and you get the foil ones and all that cool stuff.
Yes, yeah.
So when I was little, I was 7 when Star Wars came out.
Right, so you're prime age.
Prime age. I had in my mom, God blessed us. My mom had a great job, so I got any toy I wanted. But I didn't. I had the entire collection of Star Wars, and I just wrecked them. I played with them, you know, and I did that with my Shogun Wars. I'm trying to look for the photos that me and my cousin would take of our collections. We would get together and put our collections on display. It was and I distinctly remember Shogun, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, like we had them on display, man. And but yeah, we, you know, I would recommend when I got older, and I'm still on the hunt for these. They might still be around. Is my old record collection of vinyl. I had I had a lot of new wave vinyl, but my favorite vinyl was the purple edition of the purple vinyl of the Prince singles. I had those. I had all those.
Oh, those are probably worth quite a bit now.
Yeah.
I had all those. So we're trying to find out where that record collection is. I mean, I know it's just to see if the parents of my old friends put them away. So she's trying to find out for me, because that is like, oh
Oh man.
yeah.
It's
man.
like that guy that accidentally threw away one of the thumb drives with a little bit of Bitcoin when it first came out. Bought it, forgot about it, got chucked away, and now there's several $1 million in a garbage dump somewhere. It's just sitting there.
Yeah. I remember that, was it Amazing Stories, where it was about this guy and they told him, he was a kid, and they told him to keep his collection of everything, like forever, don't get rid of it, and then speed up through to his life, and he's an older adult or whatever, and he never got rid of the collection, but he was like broke as hell, or like his wife left him or something, and then towards the, like, he's older and his collection is like, it makes him a millionaire. Something like
that's
that.
an Amazing Stories movie. It sounds like it.
No, it's an amazing story. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
tell
okay,
you.
yeah.
Amazing Stories was great.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like
Was,
the Twilight Zone, but with happy endings sometimes.
Yeah. It was Bob Zemeckis and Bob.
All those
they were
guys, yeah.
involved in that. Yeah, and Alan Silvestri did the score for it. He did the Back to the Future also.
Yeah, it was one of Amblem's productions. I think it was their first television production, actually, but yeah.
Oh yeah, man! There's this one episode where they're out in the middle of nowhere, and there's this well, and they drop food down it, and they get notes back saying thank you for this or that, and then a person like falls down the well, and they're like thank you for the chicken or whatever it was, so weird.
We need to do a watch party. That is a great watch party.
Absolutely,
that is killer. I
actually have both seasons of that on DVD.
Look at you.
Oh,
well,
man.
then maybe when time allows, we can do a Mead slant mashups or something like that.
Yeah, and then of course the Family Dog is probably the most famous episode off there, because it became its own TV show for a short period.
It would probably be hard to find a movie that you don't actually own. I'm sure we could list a ton, and you'd
be surprised. But I mean, I do have a fairly big collection. Yeah, a lot of it's doubles though, like that I've had to buy a couple times.
Right.
Because you went from
the new
DVD
special
to Blu-ray?
edition. Well, there's that, and then like a special edition or 4K or 3D or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not big on like if it comes like most of the time, especially now that we've gotten to the age of Blu-ray and stuff, like they love to repackage the same thing. So like I'm good at picking that stuff out. Like unless they have something really cool with it, I really want, or something worth upgrading, then I've gotten good at not doing that. But at least back in the day, they used to make it worth the double dip when they would do special editions, but not so much anymore. But yeah.
Let's check in and say hello to our chat one more time, and then we could start closing up. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Sure. Capitano Chig, great amazing stories episode. Buddy Smith, it was a gnome the kid found, and the gnome told him with the toys. Oh, it was a gnome that the kid said, okay, I gotta watch that episode. Sandra,
was it? Oh, because I thought it was like the guy had like, yeah, okay. It's been a while since I've seen those.
It's been a while, and that makes sense. It'd be a gnome, so it wouldn't be someone in his reality.
The only other one that I really remember was the one where the guy was like, he was it was in World War II, I believe. It was either World War II or World War I, but I think it was World War II. He's like he's in the gunner underneath, and he's trapped underneath there.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was the
Yes.
pilot. That was the pilot.
Yeah, that was the pilot. Yeah, and he got to do crash landing, and then the one guy's like an artist, and he figures out like shit that he draws like comes to like reality, and he like draws new wheels and shit because the landing gear wouldn't come out. So it's an awesome fucking episode.
And then they pop up, and it was very Roger Rabbit wheels.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that was such a great show. I remember that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Boy, that was great.
I remember watching it when it was airing.
Yep, me too.
Fantastic.
Oh, and then they had a really good one with Christopher Lloyd, also that where you know he's an evil teacher, evil professor, and they end up accidentally killing him, and they have to bring him back to life. I'll see you in detention, Mr. Brown.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Mr. Brown.
Chevatana J. Bomber, that was also an illustrator. Yeah. Everyone is chiming in on amazing stories. So yeah, that struck a chord. Well, thank you everyone. Taylor Rude, I tuned in late, but y'all got subbed. Good stream. Thank you, Tyler.
Hail.
So thank you guys for
should we pick the best of the worst or the worst of the best? Or
Absolutely. So what we say here, how do we say it, Yeti?
Which one would you watch again, and which one would you force someone else to watch just to torture them?
A movie to lose friends by.
Yeah. Oh. Which one would you use to lose your friend? That's a better way to put it.
I'm curious to hear you guys because I thought you'd have the opposite reaction throughout the week, but the memes or the tweets and stuff you've got at me, it kind of surprised me. So I want to hear what your thoughts are on this.
I think Garbage Pail Kids for sure would be the one to lose friends by. That whole stay home for the ugly weirdness stuff. I find it highly disturbing. Although I also find duck bestiality highly disturbing, so I don't know. But I think there are more nuggets of goodness in Howard the Duck.
Okay, real fast. Let us just say to the chat, this is for you guys as well. Please chime in right now. Comment. Tell us which one. Yeti, say it again to them, to the chat, please.
Okay. Which one would you personally watch again? And which one would you use to lose a friend that you would take, put on, and you just want to get rid of them? So that's what you make them watch.
Yeah.
So
go ahead,
name
Yeti.
both.
Go ahead, bro.
Okay, for me, I would watch Howard the Duck again because there was a lot more to that, and you could probably go through and edit that thing and have a better movie. But Garbage Pail Kids, there is no way to make that work. There are too many threads. Nothing is explained. There's a song in the middle of the movie, like. It just comes out of nowhere. They start singing to make clothes, and then they never sing again. Oh my god, I was questioning everything when I watched this. I was like, I'm done. I'm done. Oh, what about you, Paulie? Or we haven't heard Tom's either.
Well, we'll wait for Tom because I think we'll wait for him. So yeah, I'm really conflicted because. I wouldn't want to wish both these movies on anyone. And which one would I have to see again? Probably reluctantly Howard. Yeah, but then I actually did laugh during Garbage Pail Kids. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with Garbage Pail Kids because when I accepted it, I was amazed by just how bad and stupid some shit was. I actually laughed, and then of course the state hospital for the ugly was just awesome. So there you go. All right, Tom.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I thought the way you guys were reacting to Howard the Duck all week, I thought you were going to go the other way. I thought you were going to go the way Paulie did. Because I'm like, nobody's bitching about Garbage Pail Kids. Everybody's bitching about Howard the Duck. I thought everybody's going to go nuts over Garbage Pail Kids.
Oh, well, I definitely did. I just didn't realize that you picked both. So I knew you picked Howard the Duck, so I
Oh.
sent all my hate that way.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense because, like, no, I picked both of them for obviously a lot of reasons. There's a lot of similarities between the two, and they're both two of the best worst movies ever made. Like, they're definitely at the top of that list. And both have several things like we've talked about in the last almost 2 hour and a half here about what's wrong with these movies and how bad they are. But I agree with the Wes and Yeti's assessments as far as you're not going to lose as many friends with Howard the Duck, but you're surely going to lose a lot of friends with Garbage Pail Kids. That's for sure. People will be like, "Why the fuck did you make me watch this?"
I know.
Yeah.
Howard the Duck has at least some redemption value to it, I guess. But no, I'm kind of surprised. I thought you guys were going to go the other way until now I heard what Yeti said. But yeah, I mean, I also see the merits in Garbage Pail Kids, and I'm kind of surprised to hear Paulie didn't like Howard the Duck nearly as much and actually found some of the humor in Garbage Pail Kids. And I think he just saw what I've always seen kind of as an adult in the film, was like, I see what they were trying to do here, which I said was like Gremlins meets Revenge of the Nerds, but it just didn't work. And they didn't have the money, and I don't know if anybody really had the wherewithal or the gumption to really want to do it, because it was obviously a cash grab. To where Howard, they put a lot into it. Like, you could tell this was meant to be A caliber, high end, big budget. Like, I mean, with inflation, I think this budget for Howard the Duck would have been like, what, $125 million or something like that, or $100 million.
I mean, on that tip, it definitely was the worst of the two. Like, as far as it being a big.
No, so I agree with you, Paulie, on this assessment that yes, Howard failed much harder, because Garbage Pail Kids was just an uphill battle, and regardless of what it was meant to be to begin with, it actually managed to, like you said, make you laugh, and it still has something about it, like whether you want to tear your eyeballs out or whether you just can't stop watching it. That's what it is about it. Is this nutty fucking little time capsule of. This is the kind of weird shit you would get sometimes, and this is just a great example of bad movies. So I get where you're coming from, and I like that. Hopefully, you guys are still my friends.
Yeah, because with Howard, I mean, it's like, Jeffrey Jones, Leia, but I could see Jeffrey Jones in Ferris Bueller. I don't need to see this crap. I can see her in Back to the Future. There's nothing enjoyable about this movie.
I like how Paulie just dodged the question.
And and how you said it, it's like at least there was some ridiculously stupid shit to laugh at in Garbage Pail, and maybe it's because I saw Garbage Pail second. I don't know.
Sometimes that influences things.
Well, that could be, but I also think it's because, unlike Howard, they got the sense of humor in Garbage Pail Kids a little bit better. Like, I think they understood it a bit better, that they knew they were like, once you see the home for the ugly, like you get like, okay, this is supposed to be like a straight up Mel Brooks Airplane, stupid fucking movie. I get it now. And once you see it, you can chuckle it, especially that's probably one of the best scenes in the movie, actually, when you see all the little sight gags of, like we were talking, because, you got too bald, too fat, too whatever, all those things.
Well, you know what could have made it work is if the entire movie was set up trying to escape the state home for the ugly. Like, that's their goal. So they're working out how to get out of that and get chased by, the state officers wrapping up ugly people. That, like, there would have been more of a cohesive story in that.
Well, what's even ironic is that the guys who are rounding up the ugly people are ugly themselves.
It's true.
I just can't believe we've spent an hour and a half on these films on a Saturday. I mean, Tom, thank you so much.
Oh, I could give you some doozies. Don't worry, I'll come up with some at another time. I like to come up with ones that are good for like double features or triple features, though. And I think Howard the Duck and
maybe you can do like Videodrome and Naked Lunch or whatever next.
Well, you got little people in costumes that both come from outer space.
Yes.
A lot of gross out humor, meant to be for kids, but clearly not. you know, two scripts with very conflicting tones, and feel like 3 or 4 or more movies trying to be at the same time.
Mhm.
You know, plot elements that are introduced that never really go anywhere or brought in way late. You know, like same thing with Garbage Pail Kids. There's a couple plot elements that come in way late into the game, like the whole looking for the other kids and all that kind of stuff. And the home for the ugly, I don't think is even brought up until like a 2/3 of the way into the movie or so, or a third of the way into the movie. Like, yeah,
You couldn't get away with that shit nowadays.
well, no, and that's the point. Is I think it was meant
That
to
was
be
kind of
satirical.
cool. That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
I was like, wait a minute,
very
did they just say what I thought they said?
Yeah, no, it was very tongue in cheek. You get it's supposed to be a living cartoon, and at least the Garbage Pail Kids plays with that. It knows what it's trying to do, at least in that sense. Now, it failed on several other fucking levels. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's clearly there's no verisimilitude in that film whatsoever. But
word of the day.
But on Howard the Duck, on the other hand, it does fail on the level that it was trying too hard to be grounded, and it took flight.
Yeah, I don't know which one.
Ducks don't fly.
Which one, guys, is standing the test of time?
Well, clearly Howard stands the test of time.
What?
I would think so, because more people still refer to Howard. There's a lot of people who still love Howard. It has its cult following of people who actually like that film. To where Garbage Pail Kids, on the other hand, the cult following that it has, we have no delusions of how bad that movie is. Like, we totally like it for the same reasons that people like The Room. Does that make sense? Like, you know, like we get it. You know, but I've actually brought up Howard as a bad movie, and you'll get people that'll defend that movie in the chat.
Yeah, well, even Loki was saying that in our group chat. And I'm like, where the fuck's Loki right now? Why isn't he?
You're going to get hate.
Right, I was going to get hate because I hate it. I'm like it was another Flash Gordon. I'm like,
no, it was not another Flash Gordon. Definitely not.
No, but it's in that vein.
Yeah.
It's in that vein of movies that there are people who genuinely love it with all its cheesiness, but you're going to be hard pressed to find anybody who genuinely loves Garbage Pail Kids and actually seriously loves it for a movie. Like, no, I love everything about it, and it's a great movie. I don't see why you think it's so wrong with, no, everybody who likes it for what it is knows what it is. I know it's a bad film. It's like the Fanatic. It's like The Room. It's like all those movies. It's that kind of a movie.
Jed, you are incorrect. I will watch Flash Gordon anytime and have a good time. It's just not a good film. There's just a lot of bad performances.
He didn't have fun with Howard. I get that. I
had no fucking fun with Howard. I was literally, I kept looking at my clock. I know what I'm getting with Flash Gordon, and it's a lot of campy fun and cool stuff. But when I saw it again as an adult after several years, I'm like, oh man, this is bad. Anyways,
I can see that, and that's why I think I conceded the argument to you.
Right. Look at here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You just stirred up the hornet's nest.
Same stuff for Howard the Duck, believe it or not.
I mean,
so I guess for as far as the one that stood the test of time, I'd have to say it's got to be Howard.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wes.
Yeah. I think I come down more on the side of Howard being the better film. Yeah.
Really? Okay. All right. Yeti?
You could probably edit it. You could edit Howard to have him being a little bit more snappy, and so that jokes land more consistently. To take out, half of each scene, and I think you could have a little bit better of a movie that hits home. So. Yeah, the test and the costumes, it's just much better. The duck looks much better. It's smoother to watch. It's easier. So that easily stands the test of time.
Well, there you have it. The panelists spoke. And I want to thank Tom for bringing these two movies back into into my ears, in between my ears, so I can, watch them again. So yay. Yay, Tom.
I thought it was funny as you said you went back to Garbage Pail Kids before the show since you had some extra time. So that's interesting.
Well, because I really didn't get far in it. And then you had given me extra time, and I was like, well, let me eat and let me watch. I might as well watch more of this film.
You seem to enjoy it, so there you go.
Well, they
on a level of like this is just fucking insane, but you can't stop watching. You're entertained by how stupid it is.
Yeah, especially when they went to that stupid hospital. Oh my god. Yeah, the chat's going off, and good for them. Good for them. Good. I'm happy, chat, that you guys like Flash Gordon so much. Have fun with that. I don't know what the next movies are. I got that question for the next. We don't know yet. So
yeah, we've got a big list, and always send your recommendations because we write them down. We write everything down. I've got pages and pages over here, and then we go through and we pick them.
Yeah. So if we were to do Dune, the people are suggesting Dune, guys.
I don't know if that counts really. Not.
There's a couple of versions of that movie.
Now, if we do that one, I could maybe even get Andre to talk about that one.
I mean, Dune's a bad movie. It's not good.
See it. Well, again, yeah, I like Dune, but
have you seen it recently?
Not recently, no.
Okay,
I like it too,
right.
But I actually like the extended version better. So I mean, that's
okay. Well, we're not talking extended.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
that's
right. Talking about
right.
the regular version, I could have a few things to have a beef with on that one for sure.
So maybe Dune and another deserty sci-fi.
Sahara? No, I don't want to watch that again.
Cherry 2000.
I haven't seen that one.
I don't know what that is.
Cherry 2000 is where a guy's robot wife dies, and so he has to go out into the Here, let me pop up the
that sounds
the trailer here because it is a desert sci-fi movie. Hold on.
This is not your Ellen thing, is it?
No, God, no. I wouldn't do that to you. This isn't. This is not. Yeah, this isn't my channel. I wouldn't desecrate.
Mr. Wrong? Is that what you're talking about?
What happened?
Quarter roll.
Okay, if you're doing sci-fi, then you can add in like Battlefield Earth because we know that's bad.
I've got that actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Cherry 2000. I'm sharing it right now. Whenever you're ready. There we go. Okay.
Oh, Orion Pictures. Okay.
Well.
In the future, the world has survived.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
At dinner, complete sexual encounter, optional episode in the morning, right?
I gotta run this past my own lawyer.
Pleasure is strictly business. But it will be possible to have the perfect mate. A Cherry 2000.
Looks great.
So this looks like a good one, but I don't know if this would be good. Of course, I got to see the desert part.
There is a desert.
I was gonna say maybe this would go better with like Future World or something like that, but
just short up.
Sorry, kid. Total internal meltdown. Now you got her basic memory right here. Vocal patterns, verbal, whatever, basic voice. Don't look so glum. Your chassis out for the count, all right? You got the chip. You go in, you pick yourself.
See, this actually looks like a decent movie, though.
Just have your girl back in a brand new frame.
Give me a call if you find a Cherry 2000.
Wow. You're gonna be very
wow.
in the middle and bone dry.
This is almost like too real now.
It is, yeah.
Then the adventure begins.
Bunch of higher attractive.
Talk about two different movies in one.
Oh, we got it.
Yep.
It's a bad Blade Runner.
Good character actors here.
A lot of good cast, yeah.
We got one of the original warehouses down there. Girls stacked on the shelves like pies.
I'm looking for someone to go into Zone 7.
I'm E. Johnson.
Is that Melanie
You're not
Griffith?
gonna find anybody.
Yep, Melanie Griffith.
Me, mister. I'm not a machine. Do you know where they keep these babies? We call it the graveyard. It is the worst place in the zone. Well, maybe I can get in there and find this thing, but I need somebody riding shotgun in order to make it out in one piece.
I want you to chase those birds till they drop.
If you think it's tough to meet the right people now, wait till you go looking for a Cherry 2000.
Wow.
How do you say that with a straight face?
This is, I mean, but that's not going to go good with Dune.
Well, but it's a sci-fi desert movie.
Yeah, but it's more like I'm getting like the feeling of a bad Mad Max film.
I'll tell you guys what. Let's plan this one out a little bit. We'll do Dune, and I want to do Cherry 2002 because I actually want to see that.
Okay.
Maybe I can come up with a couple movies that go better with the other. And like I said, we might be able to do Andre will do Dune. So,
and then
Ice Pirates might be
and the
better
Last
than Dune.
Starfighter. The Last Starfighter is good though.
Too good. Yeah, I would put Ice Pirates maybe with Dune. Now there you go. That might be a good one with Dune.
No, but see, Mad Max is a great. I'm
Mad
not
Max
saying
is good too. Yeah.
Yeah, these have to be the only criteria is that these movies suck.
Wait, maybe Cherry 2000 and Cyborg.
There you go. That's a better combination.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with Dune, what do you guys think? Dungeons and Dragons, so sci-fi and fantasy, because that one is.
That's bad, but you'd have to find like another one to put it up against. Masters of the Universe, maybe.
What'd you say?
Masters of the Universe, maybe.
See, I haven't seen that.
And
I've never
Andre
seen that.
hates that one, and I actually kind of like it, but I also understand why people hate it. So there's 2 episodes I might be able to get Andre for.
Well, and then there's another one I want to do is the worst George Lucas films, non-Star Wars. Well, I guess we just did one. What am I thinking?
Kind of, but there's other ones like Yeti and a few other people were bringing up in the chat. Like,
right?
Yeah, I haven't seen all those, but I would love to be a part of that. Definitely, like that one, you'd have to actually plan a little bit out, probably.
I want to plan it, and also 1941 because there is like the Zoot Suiter element connection.
What was the one I said? 1941, and what was the other one I brought up?
You brought up a More American Graffiti.
More American Graffiti.
We should do those 2 together.
Yeah, maybe that would be the best way to do it.
Yeah. Well, awesome, guys, and the chat is still going off. Dungeons and Dragons is just awful.
Yeah. Oh, it is truly horrible.
Dune versus the Army Now.
In the Army Now.
I don't
or
know
The Last Airbender.
In the Army Now,
that movie's horrible.
Yeah.
There's other movies that kind of like rip off Dune's ideas. So like I'm going to ask Andre on that. Let me ask Andre. And he might come up with one that's a good one to put up.
No, I've never seen Masters of the Universe yet. So there you go.
So yeah, Masters of the Universe is a good one to put up against like what was the one we just said?
See, 1941 is
write the shit down.
It's not that it's a bad film, Jed. It's just that it flopped. And
it's kind of like Howard, where it didn't live up to the money.
No, it's way better than Howard, bro.
Yeah. But no, in a sense that, like I'm saying, is like it was meant to be this big movie, but it did not live up to its potential expectations and all that shit. Like I it's not a horrible movie, but it is definitely one of Spielberg's worst of that era.
Yeah, it was right after Close Encounters, right before was it Raiders? Dolph Lundgren's Super versus Master Universe versus Showdown and Little Toga. Showdown and Little Toga is a great film. No good films, guys. Tremors is a good film.
Yeah, that does not count. Tremors does not count.
Now we're going into territory, Tom, where Pauly Shore, American Ninja. Yeah. It's like that
it doesn't quite fit. It's not.
Some of those you could make arguments for, but yeah, this is where I say you got to kind of come up with a little set of rules.
Yeah,
I guess, and maybe we should sit down and I don't want to like insist anything. So like, yeah, I mean, that's a good idea anyway. At least
Message from Space, famous Japanese Star Wars ripoff. I think I remember that movie. That movie.
There's a whole episode you could do on just Star Wars ripoffs. Or series.
Star Wars ripoff. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Time Cop. Yeah, Time Cop was pretty lame.
I like Time Cop.
Yeah, I like Time Cop too. I like Time Cop as well.
Wait, that was Van Damme, right?
Yeah, that's one of his better ones as far as it's based on a comic book too.
Yeah, maybe put Time Cop up against shit. I'm drawing a blank. That one with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes, where everything's Taco Bell and they wipe their asses.
Oh, Demolition Man.
No,
Demolition Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what Cherry 2000 kind of reminded me of at first, but Demolition Man's a great movie.
Yeah, you bite your tongue, Wes.
Yeah, I'd have to go with that, Wes. Demolition Man is pretty good.
Yeah, you got to go with something that at least gets like probably like an under a 6 or a 5 or something, or at least a 5 or less on the IMDb.
Yeah,
because a 6 is pretty good still on the IMDb.
Yeah, like Jim Cotta last week was a 1.8 on the IMDb. That's just.
Yeah, I mean, well, you guys are also going for the bottom of the barrel. See, I like to pick stuff with a little bit more nuance to it, and that's where, like, I picked The Fanatic. Remember?
Yeah, but look what you just picked. What do you mean nuance? Garbage Pail Kids?
These are fucking nuanced. Yeah, but you enjoyed it. You laughed at it. I keep using the word enjoyed. I should not say that. You did laugh at
Jed,
it.
why do you hate all the good movies? Because I know you like them, Jed. That's why.
No, I'm not saying you got, your entertainment value out of the film per se, but you definitely got a great show out of it. So,
how do you feel about the shoot fighter? Is it? Yeah, go ahead, Wes. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, where does Buckaroo Banzai fit into all this? Because that was a good movie, but it didn't make a lot of money, did it?
That's a great movie.
Yeah, see, that's one I wouldn't see. I wouldn't go off of whether or not it was a flop per se. That would only to me consist of like something like in the respect of like Howard, where they spent way too much money on something that didn't make any money, and it was not just a bad timing or something like that. Because a lot of John Carpenter movies then would be on the list, because hardly any of his movies have ever made any money. They're great movies and they're cult classics, but
I'm still waiting for that Buckaroo Banzai sequel that they teased at the end of that movie.
Well, they were going to give us that series, and then the rights are all over the place. I guess that's the problem.
That'd be kind of fun. Buckaroo versus Remo.
Okay, Dune might go up against Waterworld, so you have.
There you go. Oh, that's a good one. Maybe I'll ask Andre though, but that's a good one. That's a good one there.
Man, I don't know if I can watch Waterworld again.
I have it though. I can watch them both. I have them right now, but full disclosure, I didn't even get a chance to watch these two again. I wanted to, but I've seen them so many times that I mean, I could still quote some of the shit, and I know that like Howard I've seen more than Garbage Pail Kids, believe it or not, but that was just because there was this gap, like I said, of Garbage Pail Kids where it was just unavailable, and then it finally came out on DVD and Blu-ray. But
Nicholas, which one? That's a great one. Which one? I don't know what that means. And hail
I
to
think
you.
it was for Waterworld, because I know Nick oh no, not the same person. There was someone else that was pushing Waterworld a lot. I confused them.
Two movies.
Sorry.
And then I also need to search as far as new releases that are bad, that I think are important to cover, like The Fanatic, that are important to cover.
Yeah, I've been trying to look for those too.
Yeah.
Well, and I wanted to do that with this one. I wanted to bring in a third film, but I think it almost was like you almost cannot.
Yeah,
it is a lot to ask out of people to see 3 movies.
Yeah.
And we are able to talk about 2 for the same amount of time, and we got really deep into them.
So maybe that's another rule, is you should make it 2 movies, but like maybe every other week you should do newer movies or something. That's up to you, man. Like I said, I mean, this is obviously stuff we should probably be talking about.
It's funny because I want to say no obvious sequels, but yet more American Graffiti. That's a great idea.
See, that's the thing, is you almost have to have like a criteria for the sequel. Like it has to be, it can't be like the horror sequels or something like that. It has to be a movie that has a sequel that either A, has high expectations.
Yeah.
It probably shouldn't have had a sequel in the first place, like American Graffiti.
They kind of
be the criteria. It can't be something that's obviously like, well, clearly they're going to do 12 of these things, and eventually they're going to get shitty, like Friday the 13th.
Or how about Terminator Dark Fate and Cherry 2000? That would be fun.
See, and that's you could have an argument for Dark Fate, because it is, even though it is what the 7th film or whatever in a fucking series, it still has that high expectation tag set to it.
A huge expectation. I mean, they went all over the world trying to promote that.
Like
film.
you can add that as like a caveat or an asterisk. Like that's where I say like things like that have a high expectation and they clearly fail.
Right.
On so many levels, and that's like Howard the Duck. Everybody had high expectations for that. I'm not sure everybody figured it was going to be a good movie, but clearly everybody behind the movie, the studio, all that kind of stuff, thought this was going to be the movie of the summer. And it wasn't. It was the flop, and not just the summer, but it's the butt of jokes to the end of times.
Well, this is interesting. Tank Girl versus Birds of Prey.
Oh God, I'm never
not watching Birds of Prey again.
No,
I never saw it.
I always said that at the same fucking time.
I never saw it, but
I am so with you, Tom.
But that's what this show's all about.
I know, but like, there's a line here.
Well, let's see. Maybe we could do a crappy sequel one where most of the main cast has moved away. You could do like Kickboxer 2 versus Well,
see, that's where you're starting to get into the kind of like. See, here's the thing: is like. I would almost consider like the action, sci-fi, horror genre those are generally expected to have sequels, or when they do, they eventually get to that, point where they end up straight to video and shit like that. So that'd be too easy to pick on. Does that
Yeah,
make
I think we decided like none of those, Sharknadoes.
Yeah, well,
that's
clear.
They're
clear,
making
clear.
it bad. Yeah,
Right.
it's clearly in.
That should be
So,
rule
go ahead.
number one. No, I was gonna say that should just be rule number one. And obviously, it can't be a movie like Airplane or Sharktopus or,
I don't even know those. Oh, Airplane. No,
yeah, where it's clearly meant to be a bad or funny movie like that. Yeah,
There needs to be intention to make a good movie, almost. Then that's what makes it so much worse.
See, and that's the thing is, like, Garbage Pail Kids actually, I think, rides that line, and I'm glad you kind of said that, Paulie, and because I think it was meant to be a satire, but the way it was executed is it came off in that kind of gray area of this is a bad movie because the satire doesn't even work right.
Right,
You know what I mean?
because there was a little bit of that, more so than Howard the Duck, but
Yeah, it just didn't work. It didn't pan out. Like, they were kind of trying to intentionally not make a bad movie, but make.
I think that's a major criteria, is that what we review is that they thought they had the fucking shit as far as their movies. Not Snakes on a Plane or Sharknado.
Or anything by Full Moon, or clearly like these straight to video sequels that have millions of sequels.
Right.
Like the Tremors and stuff like that. Stuff that we know, would eventually get a sequel. Like I said, Friday the 13th is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they were trying with Highlander too, and that's a notoriously bad one.
See, that's a candidate, I would say, possibly, because that's that's on the list of like worst movies of all time.
Yeah.
See, and they were
The Last Jedi.
You had a movie, well, not just that, because I mean, even though Highlander wasn't huge, it was a pretty big hit, and people had high expectations for that sequel. So there you go. That's a great example of the criteria that'll hit with a sequel, at least in my opinion.
Hey, Getty, can you write some of these down?
I'm writing. Yeah,
I know. I was going to say. So one of us is going to have.
Man, as soon as the Highlanders were from Planet Zeist, I was like, "What the frick is going on here?"
I'm almost going to have to see. Tom. What was that?
Kentucky Fried Movie versus 1941.
That
Kentucky
was just
Fried
released.
See, the thing with Kentucky Fried Movie, that falls into the criteria of it's trying to be like an Airplane / satire type movie.
Yeah, it was pure satire. It was brutal. I watched it.
All right,
but
there are those kind of movies. Yeah,
well, 1941 is like a very strange, different type of genre. Like, it's not a war movie. It's not a it is a comedy. Belushi's in it. God, everyone's in that movie.
The Island of Dr. Moreau. That's got to fit.
Oh, with
Brando.
With Brando?
Yeah, with Brando.
Oh yeah.
Because that was a mess.
Yes, yeah, clearly.
That's a good one. Write that down.
It's on my list.
And I think that that's kind of the criteria you got to go with, is just like, okay, what sticks out here with these kind of
and no bad kung fu, because that's like, unless it's Nicolas Cage in a kung fu movie.
right. Yeah, like some of that kind of stuff I would almost fall into like the horror movie category. Like, you almost can't pick on some of that stuff.
Right. This is good, and the chat's going off. I think we can go on and on and on, but
oh yes,
yeah, we can.
I really finding like the ones that have a nice theme to them. But
we'll start thinking of themes. I think we got one or two where we can bring Andre on. That would be dope.
Definitely. I think if we do one with Dune and one of Masters,
okay. So
we got to find Masters. Funnily enough, you could almost put with Cyborg, because Cyborg was actually what Masters of the Universe 2 turned into. I don't know if you know that or not, but
I haven't seen any of those movies.
No, like they were going to make Masters of the Universe 2, but like everything fell apart, so they had like the sets and all the costumes and all that kind of shit. So like, fuck it, let's make another movie with all this stuff. That's what they did.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
All right. The script, and it became Cyborg.
Who was in Cyborg?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yep.
Well, the chat is still going off. Why don't we wrap it up? Why don't we wrap it up, guys? Why don't you let the chat know what you guys are doing for the next few days as far as online activity?
Well, we got a very big interview I'm working on right now. Well, at least I would call it a sequel to an interview. Somebody we've already talked to before, but we got an update from. And then, of course, we got our morning shows as always. So, and who knows what I'll be up to? I may do a Mead radio or something at some point. You never know. I'm always doing something. I'm always somewhere. I'm what is it? Omnipresent.
You're the watchful eye of YouTube.
I'm like the Watchman.
Yes. I'm trying to find your link. There you are.
Well, that would be the Midnight's Edge After Dark. And yeah, I don't do enough over there, but I got to get on Rob's case and we got to start doing some more stuff. And just timing and having to do so much other stuff. It doesn't always work.
Yes, and yes, there's excitement ahead, Tom.
Yes, there's a lot of big announcements I can't make yet.
No.
But Paulie's privy to them. A few other people are. And yeah, so there's going to be some exciting stuff coming. So I thought Andre almost was going to drop the bomb the other day.
Oh, really?
Like when he was talking, like, he's like, yeah, and you two might be seeing a lot. Like he was going.
He did. I was like,
I'm like, whoa! I'm like, is he going to do something here we don't know yet? Okay, like we hadn't really set anything in stone, but no, so he didn't go that far. But yeah, anyway,
wonderful. Let's move on to
give too much away.
Right. Let's move on to the great Wes Moody of Wes Moody's podcast.
Hey, everybody. I am Wes Moody of the Wes Moody Webcast to talk about current events, pop culture, occasional conspiracy theories, occasional car talk, gaming streams, and I will vlog about whatever the heck I want to because it is my webcast. You can find any appearances on other YouTubers' channels like this one in the collabs playlist. And you can also, I have everything laid out pretty logically in playlists on my channel, so I'd be honored if you'd consider checking out my channel. Hope to see you there, my friends. Thank you. The best chat on YouTube.
Thank you. Thank you, Wes. Thank you so much. And then my lovable co-host, the man or the myth from up north.
The legend. Mm-hmm. You can find me on the list of future canceled people for saying something stupid. But before then, you can find me at YetiCast here on YouTube, Twitter, Minds, all that good stuff. On Tuesday, I'm going to be on Loki's channel, not Loki's channel. It's the Comic Roundup, and this time it's going to be Clobbering Time's channel. And then all Saturdays, watching these bad movies with Paulie.
Yeah. And you also are trying to raise money for your new hardware.
Yes, I am.
How's that going?
So we are at close to 800 now. Here, I'll
awesome.
Get the It was my laptop is around 15 years old and it is crashing. I can't have extra windows open because it crashes with StreamYard. So, if anyone wants to throw in a couple bucks, I would be immensely appreciative of that.
Yeah, we know that times are challenging right now, but Yeti is one of the best new dudes around the community, and it's no joke. He needs some help with his hardware, so there it is, right there. Thanks a lot, Yeti.
Oh, this was great. I'm so glad we got all these guys.
All right, my name is Paulie, and this is the Latino Slant. So every day we have content dropping, whether it's a minute, 8 minutes, 12 minutes, or a live stream. Every day I have something for you. Like we just talked about Danny Trejo's book deal that Tom gave me privy to. I got a nice, I'm always trying to look for cool entertainment news as well. And then on Tuesday nights, we always have a great person to interview. This Tuesday night, Nina Infinity visits the Latino Slant for the first time. Every Tuesday, that's every Tuesday. Thursdays, we have watch parties going on. Now, 2 different shows. We have The X-Files Season 2 and Deadwood Season 1. And then you can catch me on a bunch of different people's...
Deadwood rocks.
Deadwood's amazing. And I will also be, that's right, we are all Slantinos. That's right, Slantino Pride. Orale. I will also be, let me exit out of solo. Be working on my next list of shows. What I like to do is, plan ahead and let you guys know. So like in the recent season that we just had, we had the drummer of Los Lobos. We had a couple of actors. and then we had a great fundraiser. We had Tom. That was fantastic. So thanks again. It's been a nice, crazy activity the past week. All the new subscribers, bienvenidos. This is your channel. Gentlemen, that was awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you guys next time. Let's take you out with some. And I did. I don't know if you caught this music. This is Tito Lariva's version of La Bamba, Tom. Here we go.
It's the Saturday Slanted Cinema with Tom of Midnight's Edge, Yeti Cast, Wes Moody, and more.
Para bailar la bamba, para bailar la bamba, para bailar la bamba, se necesita una boca de gracia. Por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré. Baila bamba, baila bamba, baila bamba, baila bamba. Yo no soy marinero, yo no soy marinero. Yo no soy marinero, soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán. Baila bamba, baila bamba, baila bamba, baila bamba. Soy el capitalista.